Why are personal standards so important and having a sense of integrity? I'm going to tell you why. They're important because personal standards help give you your sense of self-worth and self-love and self-respect. Okay, so now let me give you an example of what I mean by personal standards. A personal standard could be, I'll always turn up on time or early. I'll always give my all at work. I will treat my body this way, I won't eat too much bad food. Everyone has their sort of limits. I will go to the gym at least 3 times a week, for example. They're an example. Or I will conduct myself in this way. I'll always have certain manners. I'll hold the door open. I'll do this. Do you understand what I mean about personal standards, okay? Now, the problem is what happens sometimes is, in a working environment, say, let me give you a scenario where they were getting to work 10 minutes early, but then after a year, matey over there wasn't. So what's the point in getting there 10 minutes early? He never does. Or they stop giving their all at work because the boss never actually notices anyway. What's the point? Let me tell you what the point is. The point is, no matter if you're acknowledged by anyone, no matter what other people think of you, the most important person that your personal standards of values and integrity is for you. Because at the end of the day, when you go to bed, the only person then will be judging you is you. You're the only one with you all the time. So you're laying down on a pillow, and if you know you've conducted yourself in that day in a certain way, then you can be at peace. If you haven't been acknowledged, if they didn't treat you right, that's their problem. It says more about you. And this fills you up with a great sense of self-worth and self-respect. Now, usually your sense of self-worth and respect, self-love is in alignment with your personal standards. If you don't have a great sense of self-love, it's highly likely you don't have a great sense of standards for your body. Okay? Because if you don't care about your body, then what's the point of looking after it, for example? Now, let me give you another little example of personal standards in the form of a story. The story is called The Builder. Now, you've got a builder, and his whole life he's been building, and he's nearing retirement, and the boss says to him, he says, I want you to build me just one more house. And the builder's like, all right, okay, I'll do it. It's his last house, so he thinks, well, I'll just get them materials because they're quicker and they're a bit cheaper. I just want to get this done. He cuts a few corners here. He's not on top of the tradesmen like he usually is. There's snags here and there, but it's okay because they cover them up with decorating and they hide things with cupboards and cabinets. But he gets the job done. So he goes to his boss and he says, look, I've got the job done. I'm going to go and retire now. And the boss says, hold on, before you go. He says, I've got something for you. He gives him some keys. And he says, what? He says, the house is for you. Now that is a prime example of a person who I bet he wished he'd have kept his standards high no matter when or what he was doing. Your personal standards have a great reflection upon who you are. They become your character. You are defined by them. People define you by your standards and you define yourself by them. So it's very important. Now let me give you another example of why and how standards are important. Think about highly educated, super wealthy people that are like a Dutch or a duchess, for example. Now, it's highly likely that consistently through the generations, if you've been born into a highly educated, wealthy family, you are gonna be highly educated and wealthy. You're gonna succeed because they are conditioned and bred with a great sense of self-worth, high personal standards and integrity. Now look, we could moan all day long if you're from a working class background and you wasn't perhaps given the personal standards that help you thrive in life. You could moan and say, well, that's my parents' fault. But the reality is your parents only ever do the best they can do with what they know. And of course, as we go through generations, if they come from a line of generations that didn't install personal standards, why would they? The thing to do is take responsibility and say, well, my parents did what they did. Now I decide my personal standards because you know what you can. You can make your personal standards whatever you want them to be. You can say, no, do you know what? I will be at work 10 minutes early. I will stay 10 minutes late. I will give my all and I will go home and I will feel good about myself. That's what your personal standards can do. Let me give you another example of how they can benefit you. Let's take a scenario, 10-year space, 2 people, same company. One person for 10 years turns up 10 minutes early. He always gives his best. Another person turns up 10 minutes late, never gives his best. Who do you think is going to climb up the ladder of success in that company? Okay? Personal standards define you. You have to work on them. Okay? Now, you have to be a bit careful when you're building them Because if tomorrow you wake up and say, right, I'm going to go to the gym 6 times a week and I'm always going to do this and I'm always going to work this hard, and then you don't meet them standards, then you'll go, that negative talk will kick in and you'll go, I knew I couldn't do it. What's the point? I'm worthless. I'm useless. I'll just stay down here and I won't bother. Okay, so it has to be done in increments. It has to be at a pace where you know you're going to achieve it. Essentially, it's a form of discipline. And discipline yourself to have these personal standards is going to take work like anything. So don't beat yourself up if you don't meet them. Set them where you know you can achieve. Little wins, keep raising them, because as you raise your standards, your sense of self-worth and how much you love and respect yourself will raise at the same time. And it's a balancing act. And as you get higher and higher and higher, then you're going to be confident, you're going to feel great. And you will sleep so peaceful, it will be awesome. So, what personal standards and sense of integrity would you like to raise?